The purpose of my content is to help the average individual realize that you can reach financial freedom, make work completely optional, in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from a good position. I have a lot of videos on what to do in retirement, what retirement is like. I've been retired for over 2 years now. I also talk about the paths to retirement. I talk about the timeline, the struggles, the mistakes, all of the things that can maybe help you make your journey easier. But this video, I want to focus on how do you choose which investing strategy you use, whether you want to retire or not? How do you know if starting and growing a business is your thing? If maybe stocks is the way you want to go? Or is it real estate? If you invest in stocks, of all the different ways that you can, which one do you do? If you want to invest in real estate, of all the thousands of ways that you can, which way is the way that you do? If you walk through here, you won't be on camera for thousands of people. You'll be fine right through here. It's okay. Some of what I say is going to be about her. So, the first thing I want you to consider when looking at how you choose how you're going to invest or how you're going to fund your retirement, the first thing is to consider your end goal. And if there's any gamers that are watching, that's what I am. I'm a gaming nerd. One of my side hustles to reach financial freedom was to play World of Warcraft and sell things online. But when you play those kind of games, you figure out how you want your end game content to be. And that helps you choose the path to get there. So if you want a Malibu mansion, there's a path to that. If you want to go off-grid, become an expat, live in another country, there's a path to that. Figuring out what you want that life to be like is going to be the easiest way to determine what your thresholds are. How much money do you need invested? How much cash flow do you need to set yourself free? How big does your business need to be to give you that lifestyle that you're looking for? Once you determine the type of retirement that you want, I think the next thing that to me that was the most important, and this is actually what helped me choose the specific strategy that worked for me, is you need to understand your timeline. Right? There's a big difference in the way that someone like Joe Kuhn invests and the way that I do, for a couple of reasons. The third factor comes into this too, but it mostly was this second one. Joe invested using stocks and using the buckets method. He has a very smart way of investing in it. It took him 20 to 30 years to reach what he did and retired at 54 after a very good career, right? His actual starting his YouTube channel was about how to do process improvement and plant management. And then he realized quickly that he was a retirement channel because that's what people want to find out about. Whatever type of job you have, the end goal is what matters. I didn't start investing until I was 40, right? I had made it to 40, single parent with 3 kids, got laid off after the 2008 housing crash from law enforcement and found out about a bunch of bad debt in my name I didn't know existed until the divorce, and was only making $17 an hour as a CDL instructor when I started thinking, I should think about money. So I didn't have the decades that it takes for compound interest to do its thing. I didn't have the high income to be able to, even if I lived on half my income, that's still not enough to invest in stocks over a 10-year period to reach financial freedom, at least not for me. So what is your timeline? Do you have time for compound interest to do its thing? Are you looking to retire after things like hitting 59 and a half, so retirement accounts might make sense to you? Are you thinking of retiring when Social Security has an impact on your future? I wanted to make work optional within 10 years. I figured a decade. My plan, which included a very simple path while working full-time and raising 3 kids as a single parent, it couldn't be another job. I looked at my timeline and I thought, I have a short period of time. I don't have the time for stocks to make sense. I don't have the income for stocks to make sense. And I'm definitely not an entrepreneur. I've tried that a couple of times. What I found out is I am a good employee. I've grown businesses for other people and done it successfully, but when it's me owning it, not so much. I'm too lazy. I'm a minimalist. But when it comes to being a good employee, I'm happy to grow something for someone else. So what's your timeline? Do you want to be financially free in 2 years? I don't know how to do that. Do you want to be financially free in a decade? My strategy might work for that. Do you have 20 to 30 years? Do you make a good amount of money? Stocks might be the way. Are you an entrepreneur? Maybe the business is the way to go. So first, what's your end goal? Second, what's your timeline? Third, and I think this is the most important, this is the come to Jesus moment where you're going to hear things you don't want to hear. And I'm going to use some bad words because I like to be transparent and not have to filter my language. I chose residential real estate where, no kidding, I just got binder strategied by my own tenant because she was binder strategied a couple of years ago, and they called me and they said, hey, I know how you handle rents. We see what's happening. We did a rent study. Are you comfortable with our rent going up $250 this year? I just got binder strategied on a tenant I might not have touched the rent on. Not sure. They watch the content. I'll have to think about it. I'll let you know what we decide together. So I chose residential real estate for a couple of reasons. One, it meets my end goal. It takes me 2 hours a month to manage my now 18 rental units, and I can travel anywhere in the world and do it. I don't have to be around my properties to do these kind of things. So that met my end goal. Second, it met my timeline. Within 10 years, I can make work optional and have at least 4 times the cash flow coming in that I needed. David Green makes a good point. If you need $5,000 a month to live, and you make $5,000 a month on rentals, you'd be an idiot if you retired then. But when it passed 20,000, actually I need 4 and it passed 16, so I did math there, 4 times what I needed, it made sense to retire. So, if you're like my friend Adam, not to name anybody by name, but Adam, who has the personality of a pregnant yak on methadone, I don't think he should own rentals. It's not in his purview. It's not in his scope of reality. Not only could he not manage tenants, he couldn't manage a property manager. There are people where rentals just won't make sense. If you have left-wing ideology and you think housing is a right and nobody should profit off of housing, you don't want to own a rental. I get it. Go buy stocks. Stocks owned by companies that own real estate that benefit from where people live. If you are like me and you don't educate yourself on stocks, I'll be clear and transparent here. I'm not educated on stocks. So if I were to invest in stocks without educating myself, it would be gambling. So if you're like me and stocks don't fascinate you, and you wouldn't take the time and energy and effort to educate yourself the way on stocks the way I educated myself on real estate, I don't think stocks are for you. Maybe you're not an entrepreneur, because I've heard some of the dumbest things people say is, I want to be an entrepreneur because I don't want to work 40 hours a week. Well, congratulations, Skippy. Now you work 80. And then other people say, well, I want to be an entrepreneur because I don't want a boss. Okay, Skippy. Everybody with a Yelp account is your boss. Know who you are. That's the most important thing. What's your end goal? What's your timeline? Who are you? Are you somebody with people skills to manage tenants or manage a property manager? Are you somebody who's fascinated with stocks? So much so that you'll educate yourself on the best way to diversify, the best way to invest, what dollar cost averaging is, and if you're going to retire, what the bucket method is. All of these things that you need to have a clear understanding on to mitigate the risk, because all investing has risks. Choosing the strategy that matches you is not based on finding somebody who's done something successful. There are people who've started and grown businesses and do great. That doesn't mean I want to do it. There are people like Joe who invest in stocks and kill it and do amazing. If I owned one stock, I'd still be stuck in a job. There are people who retire after 59 and a half who are very comfortable in retirement because of their retirement accounts. It's not for me. I wanted work optional before 59 and a half. There are people who make the mistake of having Social Security matter in their life. First step with that is make it not matter. Second step is determining when to take it based on your situation. But the hardest thing is to look at ourselves and think, what is my skill set? What investing strategy meets me the best? That's what's going to give you the best chance of success, because I want to be very clear here with a caveat. Do not invest based on emotion, but make sure you invest in something that emotionally excites you. You are more likely to stick to a plan when you're emotionally invested in something, because no matter what plan you have, you're going to struggle the first time you're kicked in the teeth. Your first eviction, your first stock market dip, your first crypto cut in half, your first 9 out of 10 businesses failing in the first 5 years. How many businesses are you going to start until you have one that doesn't fail? All of those things are a struggle. There are people like All-Nighter Hider, like entrepreneurial, doing several different ventures. How many times do you think he's failed? But he's got that spirit to go, this is the path for me. I'm not a 9-to-5 guy. People like that need to know themselves and know that's the best choice. Let me know in the comments. What's your goal? What's your timeline? Who are you? I hope this video at least made you think. This is a nice short live stream on my phone as I'm sitting here reeling from my tenant binder strategy me. If you want your questions answered during a live stream, that'll be Tuesday afternoon, 4 p.m. Pacific. Every Tuesday, I do live streams that pretty much last as long as the questions do. Have a weekend full of amazing. I hope you enjoyed this 11 minutes without one Trump or Harris comment. Damn it.